Would you agree that Jesus is the King of the Jews? Would you like to know how? If yes, let us go through this together and you can then decide for yourself after looking at some facts. And if you like the topic and the explanation, please share with your contacts, add your comments, and subscribe to my channel for notifications when I come up with unique topics. So now let us begin. I hope you would agree that any documents that are certified by the government is considered legal, true and valid by every other government in the world. It could be the birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, education certificate, etc. If you believe that the certificates attested by the government authority are true and valid, then you will find my explanation very interesting and you will get glued to the rest of my talk. You wouldn't have heard this anywhere before, and I'm sure once you hear this fact, you will want to share this with everyone that you know going forward. So first, let us understand the background at the time of Jesus. Pontius Pilate was appointed as the fifth governor of the Roman province of Judea, serving under the Emperor Tiberius between 26 AD to about 37 AD. In the history, he is best known for being the Roman official who presided over the trial of Jesus and ordered Jesus to be crucified. Pontius Pilate was in the similar authority to execute all judgment just as Caesar would do, but a governor cannot replace a king because the kingdom and the kingship belongs to the king alone, and people in authority appointed by the king can only execute king's orders. They cannot be the king, and the king is the owner of the kingdom, and this point needs to be noted. A person in authority like Pontius Pilate had the ability to recognize another person in authority. He knew the difference between a king and a servant because he himself was not a king, but he was a servant to the king. So when Jesus was brought before Pontius Pilate, he did not know who Jesus was. But the dialogue between both revealed who Jesus was to Pontius Pilate. And he did something very interesting that the world will acknowledge. The Bible is a history of Jesus. So I'm giving some important references of scriptures. These scriptures refer to the dialogue between Pontius Pilate, Jesus, chief priests, and the Jewish people. I'm not going to read these scriptures for you. You can read it in your time, but I'll summarize it for you and conclude the talk. The scriptures are from Gospel of John, chapter 18, verses 33 to 40, chapter 19, verses 7 to 16, and once again chapter 19, verses 18 to 22. I'd like to summarize the first two passages. When Pontius Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you a king?" He gets to know Jesus is a king when Jesus said to Pilate, if his kingship or kingdom was of this world, his guards or servants would have fought to save him from being handed over to the Jews. Secondly, when Jews said that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God, Pontius Pilate was terrified and went back and asked Jesus if this was true, and he tried to protect and release Jesus. He also tried to save Jesus by offering Jews to release Jesus, as it was a custom to release a prisoner at the Passover, but the Jews chose Barabbas. Jews shouted out to crucify Jesus, and Pontius Pilate once again asked, should he crucify their king, for which Jews said there was no other king for them than Caesar. And if Pontius Pilate would not crucify Jesus, he was not the friend of Caesar, because anyone who makes himself a king defies Caesar. So Pontius Pilate was forced to crucify Jesus against his wish. So as per Gospel of Matthew chapter 27-24, Pontius Pilate washes his hands to symbolically cleanse himself of guilt of Jesus' death and declare his innocence of Jesus' blood. It is also important to know the part Pontius Pilate's wife played in the crucifixion of Jesus. As per Gospel of Matthew chapter 27 verses 19 is written, and while he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him a message saying, "See that you have nothing to do with that righteous man, for last night I suffered greatly in a dream because of him." She did not want her husband to be a part of this execution. Now it is very crucial that you read Gospel of John chapter 19 verses 18 to 22. I'll just summarize this for you. Along with Jesus, there were two others crucified on both his sides. Pontius Pilate sent out a notice written to be fixed on the cross of Jesus. This is to be noted. was titled, Jesus, the King of the Jews. The chief priest did oppose and asked Pilate to change the writing to, He claimed to be the King of the Jews, for which Pilate stated, What I have written, I have written. Now does this ring a bell? I'll put all of this in a snapshot now for you to get the complete understanding. Pontius Pilate, being a man in authority, quickly identified Jesus as a king, not a mere person in authority second to the king, but a king himself, because Pontius Pilate knew the difference between a king and a servant. Yes, Pontius Pilate himself was a servant of Caesar. He could execute judgment but could not take the place of a king. But Jesus said his kingship was not of this world. If it were, then his servants or guards would fight for him. By this, Jesus claimed to be a king. Only a king can say that it is his kingdom. Everyone else can say they belong to the kingdom. Only a king will have servants who will fight for him. Only to a king belongs the kingdom and his servants. Jesus confirmed both these things to Pontius Pilate. Jesus was on the line to be executed but stuck to his words. Then why wouldn't Pilate believe Jesus' words? I can give you another example in the current corporate world. It is the owner of a company or organization who has the right to say it is his or her organization, but the employees can say they belong to the organization. They can never say they are the owners. Same way, King was the owner of the kingdom. So now, Pontius Pilate quickly understood this fact because he himself was a man of authority and that Jesus was no ordinary man but a king in disguise of an ordinary man. Also, Jews said that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God. Pontius Pilate, as a governor, was so convinced that Jesus was a king that every time he addressed Jesus to the Jews, he addressed Jesus as King of the Jews. He asked the Jews, Would you want to crucify your king? Pontius Pilate was a Roman governor who attested that Jesus was a king. Jesus was a Jew, hence he also confirmed that Jesus is the King of the Jews. So he got that written and attested the title on the cross as Jesus, the King of the Jews. The Jews could not change it as it was a word confirmed by the Roman authority which stands till date. So whenever you see the crucifix, please take a moment and look at the title on the cross. And remember, it was Pontius Pilate who approved it and put it on the cross, a Roman authority, a government authority. Now that is a government document, a proof that no one can change today. One can disagree with this, but it is like saying that your documents attested by your respective government is invalid. Any historical documents that are attested by the government are valid forever, and so this document, issued and attested by Pilate, the Roman governor, is valid forever. So now, I leave it to you to think on what I have said and decide for yourself whether it makes sense to call Jesus the King of the Jews. If you agree, type Amen in the comments and add your comments too. If you don't agree, that's fine. I would encourage you to add your comments. So I leave it with you now. If you like this video, please share with your friends, comment, and press on the notification button for new topics that will come. God bless and see you again.